What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the hoetohusbandpodcast. I'm your host, Terry DeRon. I got my man SD in the building with me. What's going on, bro?
Nothing, man. Excited to get this episode on the road here and talk to our guests later on. But first, I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind everybody to donate to the Hold a Husband podcast on Cash App and PayPal. All right, T.
I want to remind everybody that's interested in supporting the podcast, you can reach us through our DMs on Instagram, or if you're interested in promo or shout out, you can email us at hoetohusbandpodcast@gmail.com. I'd also like to remind y'all that y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. This episode is titled It's Not You. We're going to be having a discussion about deciding whether or not a relationship is actually worth staying in. So, that's breaking up. That's a real sensitive subject, and it's really painful mental process or the thought process you go through when making that type of decision. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to discuss stuff that we've seen trending on our timeline or things that have gone viral. And so this first video is a video that I actually reposted on my page that got a lot of reaction, where a guy is talking about his preference on not dating a single mother. Let's take a listen.
Date with him. What was the turn on?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that question about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high value man and you are too good for a single mother. However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound for me to think that a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you. That's unfair. And it's very insensitive to women out there who have children.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history.
So you're a very intelligent
woman. You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know, as a woman growing up, you know it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive.
It's interesting to see how angry the women on the panel got off that topic. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty obvious that this is the type of reaction that we get whenever men state their preferences about women. But in particular, the one thing that really stood out to me or immediately had my spidey senses go off is when she said, basically, when she started off to describe, summarize their conversation. So to me, that lets me know that she's portraying it in a way to make him look bad, and she's twisting it and reshaping what he actually said. Because the logic that he was coming with, wanting to break the cycle of single motherhood and thinking about the long-term success of the child, don't have nothing to do with what she's talking about, that him being too good for a single mom.
Yeah, and she talking about, well, you were raised by a single mom, so I don't get it. That's kind of, and I'm thinking, yeah, he got to see firsthand what he might not want to deal with from somebody else that's also a single mom. But see, the problem is that when you get these things, and the crazy part is, I had a discussion last night on live with a single mom. I'll get into that in a minute. But the crazy part is that, these here women don't understand that how they feel don't matter to the men they want to date. She said, that's not fair to all these here single women out, all these single moms out here. So what? Fairness, relationships are not about fair or not, because you know what else isn't fair? That you won't date a dude that's 5'5". That's not fair either.
That's not fair.
But are the women gonna say, hey, I'll date you and you 5'5", because it's not fair that women won't date you? No, they won't. They won't date you because you make $50,000. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. But you aren't gonna say that's not fair. I'll date you making $50,000. See, a lot of women, they're just fine putting these here things on a man and not dating a man for these here particular things. But when it comes to them and certain things that disqualify them, that's when the problem comes into play. Yes, and they get into their feelings. That's why you had all them other women on there that got into their feelings and painted him out to be the villain. But if it was a woman that said, you know what, he got a baby mama, I'm a top chick and I don't want to deal with a baby mama, they'd high five her and say, yeah,
no
girl,
problem
go get
with
you a
it.
man. Yeah. So that's why when I talk to these here women and they have a problem with how men date, I try to compare it to something with them so they can see the sense in it. But a lot of times with the feelings involved, they don't care about facts and how that looks. They only care about how they feel. So that's her problem.
Right. I mean, but especially in the men have always been expected to provide, but no, you will never see a woman trying to encourage her teenage son to get with a woman that got kids already. You know what I mean? Like, they understand the logic and the economics of the burden that dealing with, it's a package deal and all those type of things. Like, some men just don't, if they have the preference, if they have the choice between a woman that does not have kids and one that does, depending on what his goals and his interests are, most guys are going to choose the woman without the kids. Because we know of all the negative situations that can come. You got a woman with 2 teenage boys and you ain't my daddy, and man, it could be all kind of drama that you inherit in the name of love. Man. You know what I mean? Not to say that there's nothing wrong with being a stepdad or a step parent, but that's a choice each individual has to make on their own.
Yeah. And me personally, I prefer a woman with kids because I don't want no more kids. Right? The biggest part of me don't want kids no more. There's a small, slight sliver of maybe wanting a kid, but it's very small. But listen, I talked to this woman last night and she got upset because she has 3 kids by 3 different men. And she is 36 or 35 or something like that. And I told her, like, yes, it lowers your value in the dating market. And she hated it. She hated it so much. And I'm like, it lowers a man's value in the dating market.
Thanks.
And I tried to get her to understand that it don't matter how you feel about it. Not to mention, so these here things knock your dating market value down to the men you want to date. She wants to date a top 5% guy at that. He has to bring her a gift to the first date. He got to take her to an expensive restaurant. Listen, he got to take her to an expensive restaurant, and she is average looking and a horrible attitude. When I say horrible, I mean horrible. So you got all these here different things working against you. Then you show up with 3 different kids by 3 men that live in your home. Like, come on. It knocks your value down.
I can't think of no logical reason for a guy to sign up for that. Like, the only type of guy that's going to really be interested in a type of situation is a guy that doesn't have options. You know what I'm saying? To where he's just mesmerized by her and he won't tell her no and she can get anything she wants. There are suckers like that, but those are not usually the men that they want.
It's a reason why she ain't found it in almost 40 years. You're not gonna find it. I'm sorry, because that type of guy that you say you want to date, that top 5% man that's got to do all these here things, he has options. Why would he choose a single mom? Not even just choose you, but jump through hoops for you with 3 kids by 3 men. I know women don't want to hear it. It hurts, but it's true. It's the same for men. Different things for men knock them down a notch. You got a bunch of kids by different women. You're short. You're bald. You don't make that much money. All these here things knock you down a notch. It knocks your value down in the dating market. Women are just fine agreeing with that for men. They'll agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, but see, men have had to come to terms with that a long time ago. And so men actually have to learn the other things that make them desirable about women. Women, it's easy that y'all can enhance every part of your body to make you more attractive. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to work to get sex. So for women, it's easy to do. But for men, we actually have to perfect the art of holding conversation, asking questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, maintaining a woman's interest, et cetera, and competing in a market that is extremely, extremely competitive. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so for the guys that are able to consistently attract and sleep with the women that they find the most attractive without lying, deceiving them, or doing some fuckboy shit, that is a skill that has been developed over time. And that's why you can spot the behaviors and the patterns throughout society and see out what those men usually have the same things in common.
Yeah, and the women never have to develop those things to get men. They never have to develop those things to get men. Like in their early years, as a woman, you don't have to develop anything to get time, attention, and sex. Nothing. You just have to go
hit
outside
hit puberty.
Yeah, and make us and look halfway decent. And men are going to give that to you. It warps a lot of women's mind because these guys will still sleep with them, but they won't wife them or get into serious relationship with them, because in order to do that, you have to develop other things that men want outside of sex, outside of sexual. So now your attitude comes into play. Your behavior comes into play even more. Your look comes into play even more. The kids that you have come in. See, they'll smash you all day with
all that stuff coming into play.
Right, but when they just having fun out here, or they just want to smash you, or they don't see you as a serious option, none of those things matter.
Yeah, you avoid them conversations. Like, why would a man tell you why he would never live with you? Why would a man tell you why he would never have a joint bank account with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, why he would never trust you with a large sum of money. It is not in a man's best interest to be that brutally honest with a woman that he's trying to be romantically involved with.
Yeah, and men know it. That's why they just don't say anything or whatever. Like, men do it like that. I get it, but not wanting to date a single mom or not wanting to date a single dad shouldn't be a knock against you. As a single dad, I'm saying it. I know it's women. I've been turned down by women because I got kids. Like, it is what it is. I don't cry about it. It ain't unfair. It's life. I made this bed, so I have to lay in the bed that I made, no matter how long ago it was. So it's the same thing for women. You made your bed. You had a kid, and if men don't want to take you serious, that's on you. So
yeah, man. Let's keep these rolling. This next video is a clip from 8 at the Table, where they're talking about whether or not men are attracted to women with designer gear or designer stuff. Let's take a look.
The average man outside don't care if you got on Steve Madden's or Yves Saint Laurent. He don't. That's shit that y'all be competing with on your own. A nigga gonna fuck you if you got a Michael Kors bag or if you got a Birkin. A nigga's gonna fuck you if you in a Honda or if you in a Bentley. Those are not things being put forth by men as requirements. That's y'all competing with each other.
I don't think you're being honest.
But I agree. But I definitely do agree with
Rico, you said before,
men in here.
I see it all the time and I hear it all the time. Men are attracted to a woman that's.
Can I tell you something?
But you're talking about somebody who I've lived a life where I got to experience a lot of wealthy things.
See, this is a thing.
So I can tell the difference.
Well, as far as being attracted to a woman's brands or the clothes that she wears, I've never ever heard a guy say something like that. Like, like I remember apple bottom jeans. Guys will recognize an attractive woman in a recognizable outfit. You know what I'm saying? But I've never heard a dude looking at a chick like, "Oh, you wearing some Yeezys? Let me go holler at Shorty."
Oh my God.
It's so funny to see women arguing with men about what men like and what men like. Yeah, it's
you know what, man, though? This is the thing. Again, a lot of women don't understand men. A lot of women judge men based off of how they judge. Well, a lot of women judge men based off of how men judge them, or the other way around. Because women look at status on a man. Like, we know that because women want providers. So things of status or of stature kind of turn women on or make them kind of more attracted to you. You in a Benz, you in a Bentley, you got on Gucci, you got on whatever. Like, that's why a lot of dudes
caliber woman's gonna always go for that.
Yeah, like a lot of women will. a lot of them like nice, to see a man that's kind of put together that way. For men, we don't look at. I've never, like you, looked at a chick and said, "Oh man, she got a Gucci bag. She drive a BMW." Yeah, like, because we're not looking, and this is what I attribute it to. We're not looking for providers. We're not.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have a Benz, or the fact that you can buy a Gucci purse, it means nothing to me. I don't care if it was a TJ Maxx purse. Is she fine? Is she in a Honda? Don't bother me none.
Don't bother me at all.
Is she fine? I'll take her over a chick that's got to have name brand. I'm not even attracted to that, for one. So if I see a chick flaunting that, it's all over her social media. She's telling you how much this costs. She posting her cars and all this.
Influencer,
that's materialistic to me. So I don't really care for that. I'd rather have a chick in a Honda with the TJ Maxx bag. That's a down to earth, humble chick that makes $60,000 a year. Give me her all day long. So men don't pay attention to material things like that, in stature and status, like women do. Women do that because they're looking for providers.
And like he said in the video, they do it to shit on other women. Y'all broke hoes this, y'all broke hoes that. Like, my man bought this. Like it's like that they want to live a life that they can flaunt and tease other women about. But a lot of it is useless. Those are things that I could make the argument that it does the opposite. Because like when I think about, like a woman that's just living a regular life, what I'm saying, a Honda or whatever the case may be, I think about a guy in my position, how much I could upgrade her. If I upgraded her to my current lifestyle, that she would that's a massive jump, you know what I mean? Like, and so that type of woman would be a lot more appreciative of that than a chick that has been spoiled and feels entitled to certain things.
You know what? That's why a lot of men, men know they lane a lot of times. Men will see chicks like that that's flaunting all these material things and be like, nah, I don't want to be bothered with that. Or like I've talked to women that have ball players as ex-boyfriends or baby daddies or something, and I'll be like, once I talk to them, I'll be like, nah, this ain't for me, because shorty expects you to be here, like at ball player status, or she wants you to keep up. And that's the thing that I think is hurting, some of these women that do make, a little money out here. It hurts them, because those women the most single. They looking for
look at their dating pool.
I understand.
Like, you make $2 million and you only a date a dude that make more than $2 million. Well,
ain't no way. 9 times out of 10, because
or you gonna be recycling the same men the housewives is running through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very small pool of men that these women are gonna date.
Right, but even and the guys that don't make that money, these women have a certain lifestyle that they want to maintain. Now, that man they looking for as a provider, no matter what they make, because their money don't matter, remember? He's expected to maintain that lifestyle. And men say, I'm not even gonna put myself in there. I've done it. I have done it with chicks that got ball players for boyfriends or ex-boyfriends or baby daddies. And they live in these here crazy houses and buy all this here stuff and got all these. And I'm like, you know what, you fine, but it's not worth the headache for me. You're not gonna run me broke and run me ragged so I can try to keep up with what you used to. No way.
And it's the mentality of it. Like man, trying to build a life with somebody that's trying to keep up with the Joneses or live to impress social media. Yeah. Like, it's never gonna end. You know what I'm saying? Like, those people that are, trying to do the clout and trying to, like I said, post. They can't wear the same outfit twice, and they worried about what people gonna say, and that's that feels like a kind of a prison almost, to where you're obligated to do all these type of things. I don't see how that's sustainable. You know what I mean? Because even with me, I'm pretty private. I don't share a whole bunch of my life on social media, but my wife and daughter still react to that. Like, when people see me and recognize me in public, my daughter be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Like, she don't like the fact that somebody will be like, oh, at the gym, like, oh, I follow your dad, or, like, she's bothered by that kind of stuff. So I can't imagine what it would be like with somebody, you know, that's doing the most. And a lot of times those women that live that kind of lifestyle, when they can't get a man to support it, the easiest way to do it is OnlyFans, or you know what I'm saying, or use that monetize their body.
It kind of reminds me of the argument where women can't understand why men don't take into consideration, like when men be like, we don't care how much money you make, we don't care about your job and how many degrees you got. Like women can't, but don't you want them? Why don't you want them? They'll understand it like that. Like that's not something that we put at the top of our list for a woman for us to have. Like we don't, you know, want you to be a bum or be out here dressed any kind of way or nothing like that. But it's not high on our list like it is on y'all list, to where those type
that doesn't impress
y'all.
Or I don't think about like if a dude's bragging about his wife's career, that would be kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
my wife's
how many
dudes, manager. You know what I'm saying?
How many dudes you know got sex from a chick based off of his car, his clothes, the bling? That's why dudes wear fake stuff. Some of them wear fake stuff. Why? Because they know that women are going to be impressed by it. Whether it's the car, whether it's the fake watch, whether it's the earrings or the chain. Women, on the other hand, I have never in my life, in my 43 years of living, heard a dude say, oh man, shorty got that chain on, she bad. You see that chain? I'ma holler at her. You see that? She in a Benz, man. I'm gonna get it. Dudes just don't do that. It's not gonna make us choose you like that. Like it's just not. Whereas women, you know, a lot of women, how you are, you know, that type of stuff for a lot of women does make them choose you.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for women, guys wouldn't even care about a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously you like nice things as you get older and as you mature as a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to wear sneakers every day. You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are just certain things that evolve as you grow. And having safety, you know what I'm saying? Living somewhere where you're comfortable and you don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like you can provide a safe lifestyle. All that comes with money. And so the more income, or most people, well, a smart person, once you reach a certain level of comfort, that's good. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't gotta try to impress everybody. Like once you reach a certain level of comfort and you got your needs, you can pay your bills and save money and do your thing. That's right. And like you said, that's finding your lane and staying in it. Once you get somebody that only care about what you buy them or what you do for them, a lot of people get triggered into that because it's easy to manipulate somebody that is relying on you for sex and love to feed and to, you know, continue to pay for it, because that's what really was all the music and stuff is talking about.
Yeah, and that's what's messing, like the music and social media. A lot of these women log in and they got Ari and Young Miami and all these hit girls getting all this hit stuff, and they feel like, you know, women will see this stuff and feel like they deserve it too. And if you can't give it to them,
buzzword.
Hey, yeah, something is wrong with you. You sassy. Why you think I don't deserve that? Because you don't. This ain't your life. Like you got to live in reality. Social media has warped a lot of people's minds, you know, and it's not just the women, it's the dudes too. To think that they should get everything.
Well, I'd say it's more than just the music and the social media, because this is something, the fairy tale has been there for a long time. Cinderella took her broke ass to the party and secured the bag. You know what I mean? So that mentality that all I gotta do is be cute and get a dude with bread to come save the day or scoop me up. That's all. Well, in the hood, it's really been a get pregnant by a ball player or the star for quarterback type of vibe, or the upcoming rapper, or the dope boy. Like we've seen all that in our community. But it don't work the same for women. Like if women could get men by just getting more money, we wouldn't have all these single CEOs and entrepreneurs out here. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
tough.
a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, if that don't tell them money and stuff don't matter, I don't know what tell them.
You're not gonna be able to tell them that, like, especially when they get in groups. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw in the trending topic video, when a guy says something that women don't want to hear or dislike, all those shaming tactics, all the cutting you off, not letting you ask you a question, don't let you respond. So, you know, they're like all that type of stuff will happen back to back to back to the point where most guys just stop trying to argue their point.
Yeah, I don't blame them, because you're not gonna win that one. Not with feelings, not with logic against feelings. It ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, especially with a crowd that can give a round of applause when they say something and boo the dude. Like I mean, guys are used to it, you know what I'm saying? We know it's not a even playing field when it comes to men and women. That's actually, ladies, you know, that's what chivalry means, right? Like the playing field is tilted in your favor because you're a woman. Men understand that concept, you know. Like they seem to forget it, you know. They act like they don't get a lot of benefits for being women, but we know in fact that they do. Looks like we are up against the clock. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting into tonight's topic. It's not you. Where we are talking about reasons to decide whether or not you should stay in a relationship. You are tuned into the Hold a Husband podcast. We'll be back in a moment. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hold a Husband podcast. We have our special guest on for the night. We have Lady Di in the building. What's going on? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and get on the podcast. We know it took a little coordination to get you here, but we're glad you showed up. But before we get into the conversation, I wanted to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience and let them know a little bit about you, where you're from, your background, etc.
Okay, so my name is Lady Di, and I go by Lady Di DTM. DTM stands for Dating to Marriage Support, and that's where me and my husband support singles or people who are looking to get married or people who are married to have and maintain a healthy relationship. But I'm originally from New York, and I started doing this probably about a year ago publicly, okay. But I have been doing women specifically offline. But I don't know, something called me to YouTube and to the social media to try to spread it a little bit further.
Well, that's what's up. We need as many people as we can out here trying to promote healthy relationships and marriage. That's one of the things that kind of separate me from a lot of the other people in this space. I've been married almost 20 years. So I speak from a husband perspective and try to provide insight from that avenue. And we talk a lot about what it takes for men to have success with women and a lot of the things that men actually deal with. So we appreciate your efforts. The first thing that tonight's topic, we're talking about deciding whether or not to stay in a relationship. And so from what I've observed, a lot of people that actually want to be married or have goals of being married, they cut people off for in-dating situations over real trivial things or over things that aren't really relevant to long-term success. What are your thoughts on the mindset of today's generation and how that impacts dating?
I think the mindset stems from how they grew up. So I don't think a lot of people today have seen a healthy relationship. Most of the time what they're watching is baby mama, baby daddy, multiple of them. And they're looking at, another space where music industry, now you have a lot of women into makeup. It's all entertainment. So I don't think they have a lot of good, solid foundation as far as a healthy relationship. Everything is based off of entertainment and, how you can have fun instead of, okay, you can have fun, but what's your life looking like? So I think the mindset is based off of what's being shown majority of the time. And it's not saying that there's people that don't have healthy relationships, but I don't think it's promoted enough for people to even know that they exist.
Do you think that and I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Like somebody coming from a 2-parent healthy marriage plays a part when they want to get married to somebody. You get what I'm saying? Like that seeing that, and then the things that you come out into the dating space and believe, because you mentioned most people don't grow up, especially in our community, in that environment. Most of the people, 65+% of people growing up in a single mom household. So they're not really seeing how a healthy relationships work. So they're really getting it from entertainment. So is that something that you encourage people to look for if they grew up in that environment?
Yeah, if you grew up in that type of environment, it's not that you can't learn it. You just have to seek it. You have to go and ask. Like I know before I even got married, I used to adore older couples. How long have you guys been? I'll ask them, how long have you guys been married? And they'll say, 20 plus years. And I always I ask the man, how do you keep your relationship? And then I'll ask the lady, how do you keep your relationship going? Because it's 2 different answers. And that was just me seeking. So I think people just have to inquire about it. But I do think it does play a part. Like if you come from a 2-parent household, at least you have an example. But what you choose after that is on you. But at least you have the example. Like for me, I came from a marriage, but then they got a divorce. So I got both.
How old were you?
I was 10 when they divorced. So I got half, great life of both of my parents in the house. And then it went straight to single mom. So I see both sides. Yeah. And it was a struggle, not at the time, but it became a struggle. Like when I was dating, I realized that I didn't know much about relationships as much as I thought I did. So,
and you know what? Like when I'm talking to women on my page, one of the questions I get often from women that want to get married and all these here things is, what do men want? And I be thinking to myself, how you 35, 40 years old and you don't know? But when you get out here and you look at social media, and this is what I talk to them about, like all the classes for giving head and riding dick and all that type of stuff, those classes are sold out. Those classes are sold out. But then when you got femininity coaches, you got wifey school, wifey classes and things like that, they giving 60% off because they can't sell them out at all. Like, and so when you said you have to seek it, that's like somebody that don't know how to cook, right? And you want to learn how to cook. You go and you get you a book, you take culinary classes, you do something to try to be better at it. And I don't think it's happening on either side, be it the men or the women that are being raised in these households that's not being groomed to be husbands and wives. They're not seeking the things that help sustain healthy marriages. And that's why we got so much dysfunction in our neighborhood when it comes to marriage. The highest percent of divorces is in our neighborhood because people get together and then realize, oh, you know what, we're not compatible. Let's just divorce. And I think that has a lot to do with it. So I try to encourage them to seek things that'll make you a wife for the men that you want that are husbands already.
Well, in regards to what you just said, where people have this kind of, fuck it, let's just break up kind of mentality. What are some of the things that let you know that, a relationship is not considered healthy, or it's that you're in a dysfunctional relationship. Because I don't think a lot of people actually recognize when they're in a dysfunctional, illogical situation. That, because we get DMs, we get people asking for our perspectives all the time. And sometimes I'll just read the question, and my response would be like, you answered all the questions in your explanation. You told me he beat you up, he gave you STDs, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gave me all the information that you needed to know what type of dude you dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes it's like that, they'll just ignore what's in front of them, I guess, hoping for somebody to tell them, to pander to them and tell them what they want to hear. I'm not exactly sure, but
it's so it's like, how can I say, like, I'm gonna use me for example. I have experience with, drinking, partying, and I have an experience in the industry as well, where that's different. Now you're networking, trying to get gigs, and be prominent in that. But I always wanted marriage. So I think what's happening is there are people who don't think it's important. They feed off of the hype of whatever's going on, and it's most of the time it's just about fun. So drinking, smoking, and stuff. That's like a high of fun. Like, I know many of us have the experience of that, and it's kind of like you get set into that life and you don't grow up because it's so much fun to them. And if they put that in front of a relationship, nothing they have that comes with the relationship is going to be a long-lasting one, because they're rushing for that other type of high. So as far as them knowing that they're in a dysfunction, they probably do know that it's not right because it's not working out. So, like, let's say for a lady, I always say, well, did he marry you? Did he give you a ring?
Ooh,
I mean, because
no, that hurt.
10 years. What you think is going to happen? You're going to wait another 10 years? He don't like you like that. He don't want you. And it's kind of like they want to be in this illusion that, because he gave me a baby. Okay, I got 3 kids back to back, right? The baby that's not something that's going to make my husband stay with me. Okay, that might be a reason to consider, because
it actually puts stress on a relationship.
Yeah, like, to raise a kid it's a lot of work. So if you have 2 dysfunctional people raising another human being, that's already a disaster. So the baby's not going to keep one. So it's kind of like common sense. He hasn't proposed to you. He hasn't even talked about it. And if he gave you a promise ring, sometimes that's a bunch of BS, because that's just to keep you there for a minute. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you have to be,
because he got caught cheating,
or whatever the reason. That too. So it's kind of like, has he married you? Then we could start with something. He hasn't married you, and they plan to stay. They continue to stay. They know it's wrong, but it's like they're hoping and wishing for a dream. But then, like I said, they don't understand how to make it work. They're just going to stay there because they watched other people do it. They may have 1 or 2 examples of someone being married for a long time, which is usually like the grandma or grandpa, but it's not too many people. So at the end of the day, they're like blending in with their friends. So it's not really dysfunctional to them. It's just a way of life.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I just turned 45. And so to be married almost 20 years, it's like we still in the young, like a lot of our friends are single and on our age group or whatnot. But to be married that long, being married for a long time is not exciting. It's not as fun as turning up and being lit and you know what I'm saying, like, and one night stands and the stuff that you do, living a life of partying and whatnot. But what you were saying, that how women get addicted to that smoking, partying, and all that. Well, that's the environment for a bachelor to thrive. where girls are drunk and girls are twerking and girls are dancing and everything is flow, and like that's the perfect environment for a guy that doesn't care whether he gets married or not, because that's how most guys approach marriage. It's kind of like something that's optional. If they find the right woman and things are going that path, they'll become open to it, but they're not searching around like hoping to get married, especially at what you call it, the whole phase, SD.
The whole phase, baby.
Yeah, so ladies, be careful. That lifestyle that she just described is gonna put you in contact with a much higher percentage of whole phase men.
100%, and that's what most women run into. All you gotta do is listen to and talk about the guys they dealing with and how they hoes, they cheating, they doing this, they doing that. Like that's what so many women are running into. And so not growing up in an environment with marriage as the centerpiece, a healthy relationship as a centerpiece, then you go out here and you start doing everything, partying, doing all this, you dating and sleeping with these here different whole phase men that you meet. By the time she reaches 30, 35, a lot of these here women be ruined when it comes to trying to get married. That's why I tell women it's a lot more important, man, to seek out these here things if you didn't grow up in it, and then start moving like you want to be a wife. Because the guys that you're looking for, if you talk to them about the guys that they're looking for, these guys are husband material already. The women will tell you that, the ones that want to get married. So you have to be moving like a wife, posting like a wife, dressing like a wife, talking like a wife, all these here different things, so that he recognizes you different than what he sees in the other women. And that's a hard sell for a lot of women that I see, because it's like, oh, are you telling me this? I get men, like you get them for sex, you don't get them for long-term serious relationships. Those are two different things, and it's hard for them to understand that. So
I had another question for you, Lady Di. With you being a woman, maybe you can give us some female interpretation on this, for some advice for the fellas. How can a guy tell when a woman just wants to get married to say she's married, opposed to, like you're describing, actually trying to put herself in a position to have a long, sustainable marriage?
Tell me this one. I need to hear this.
That is a great question. I don't think I ever was asked that. Because it's so weird. I see women that want to get married just for the wedding, the ring, the nice house, the cars, even the kid, a cute kid, look at my kid, like a little doll, right? But to know, just look at when you guys, okay, so when you propose, you're not gonna know like when you're in a relationship, because most women try to put their best foot forward to get a ring, right? So I can't I'm not even gonna talk about that, because obviously you chose her for a reason. So obviously she stood out somehow. Now she's at the second phase. Okay, she's engaged now, right? You got to see how she plans the wedding. Like, you got to look at how superficial, materialistic she is. Like, if you say, hey, you know what? I don't think the budget is sitting good right now to get this $3,000 wedding cake. Okay, you got to test her still. And then I know, because she gets all these excuses. She gets mad. She has this temper tantrum. Okay, cool. Let her have the temper tantrum, but be firm on what you said. Like, you not getting this we're not getting this $3,000 cake right now. I want to put this towards our house or anything that's better than the cake. Just figure what that is, okay? And if she still is like, no, I want what I want, you're controlling, she start throwing all that at you. You already
the social media language.
That's
my guy did that.
One way.
One of my guys did that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
There's other ways. That's just about the wedding, but not everybody has one. So you have to look at maybe her friends. I'm always big on looking at the lady's friends. What are her friends like? Are they still out there partying, drinking, smoking? Are they?
She hang around all the hoes, but she not a hoe, right?
Yeah, like she around people that, not saying that she can't get married, but she's around these women. Is she keeping these women around? Does she still want to go out and party with them? Does she still want to have these girl nights? You know, is she putting you first? Because see, when the lady mind is switching, eventually she can have that life before. Not saying she can't be married. She can't, not that she can't be a wife. People change, but if she's still seeking it, does that still give her that high, or do you give her the high? That's how you know. If you're not giving her that high, and her friends are, she putting them first, putting her mom first, that's not a wife.
Man,
so that's how you know she's getting married for the wedding and not you.
She basically saying, leave that heifer alone, fellas. That's what she's saying in so many words. Like I was a part of a wedding. My guy was finna get married, and he had a small request that he didn't want to do. He's like, man, I done gave these people $30,000 already. I'm not gonna do this, do that. And she was hell bent against it. Hell bent. And I mean, they argued. Eventually he called the wedding off and lost all the money, and then married somebody else. Like a year later, he met a chick, married somebody else, and the ex still never got married. Never to this day. And that was 15 years ago. And so, you know, that's a good idea. Like, you know, if she's more materialistic, like into the show of it, she's so much into the show of it that she don't care about you and you trying to budget things and save money and not spend this much. That lets you know she don't really care about you. It's all about her. I don't care if it's the ring. She don't want a 5,000. Oh no. I want 10,000. It's got to be 20,000, or I'm not happy. Like that lets you know she ain't really there for you. If it's gonna stretch your pockets,
she's doing it to brag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Women that do things to brag or show off, it's not about you. And so I agree with you 100%. That's how you find these heifers. That's a good idea.
That's how you find them. You better. I believe in testing. You got to test it. Why not? This is your life. If you don't test the ladies that you are around, you ruining your life, and you just don't even know it. Test them. Don't be afraid. You know, there's some guys that are not all men, but there's some guys that just they want her so bad that they're like,
it's hard.
I don't want to lose.
It's hard for a lot of it. We was just talking about that. Like the guys that don't have a lot of options, man, they not trying to rock the boat. They not willing to tell her no. They'll put themselves in debt trying to make a chick happy. You know what I mean? Like we've seen dudes do sucker stuff all the time, you know, in the name of love. But those aren't the guys that most women actually respect and want to.
The ones they cheat on. They cheat on him with a felon. He just got out like 3 months ago.
I wanted to switch it to talk about, you know, getting into the relationship. What would y'all say are some of the crucial ingredients to establishing a healthy relationship?
Well, sacrifice is one, because everybody has a life before they get with you. So depending on what's going on, if that person, men or women, if that person is putting their life in front of the relationship, then that's not healthy. So when I say sacrifice, you have to sacrifice the things that you're doing prior to. Not saying that you have to get rid of it, but you have to learn how to prioritize. You have to prioritize your relationship, your job, your family. That's sacrificing. So you have to know what's important, because at the end of the day, behind the closed doors, it's you, him, or you and her. So if you put things before it, then it's not going to be a great one. So sacrifice is one, respect is another, and respect for both. You know, men always ask for respect, but women need respect too. So respect for a lady and a man is different though. So respect for a man, you know, you got to make sure that how you talk to him, you know, you're putting him, you're not looking at him like, oh, he's just a little nigga, right? He's just a little whatever. No, you looking at him, that's my man, that's my husband, that's my whatever it is. You looking at him like,
that'll make him fall out of love quick.
Right. Like, I'll do anything for you. Them eyes would tell you. Yeah. That's respect for a man. Yeah. For a lady, it's different. So, like, respecting some of her emotions. I'm not saying to pander to them, but you have to understand and listen to ladies, even though they could be bickering or nagging. In order for you to help her, you have to understand her. So you have to really be super logical. I think most men are logical anyway, but you have to take it up a notch, because sometimes they need a man to help them not be so all over the place. And it's going to take you to do it. So you have to respect her enough to listen and not just, be quiet. Like, you just shushing her up. You don't want to do that, because then she's going to go get depressed. And then she's going to start talking to her girlfriends about you all day, So don't do that.
Man. You're doomed then. You're doomed, especially if they single. If they single or divorced, you're done. Because it's going to be, oh, man, forget him. You can get another man. You don't need him.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So
you gotta make sure that you do the same. So, but yeah.
That's right.
All right, it looks like we are kind of up against the clock. But before we get up out of here, can you let the audience know how they can find you and your content?
Yes, so I'm primarily on Instagram at Lady Di DTM, and YouTube, same name, Lady Di DTM, and it's LADYDYDTM, which DTM stands for Dating to Marriage Support. You could find me there, and you'll see a lot of my content where I just drop a lot of things against the sisterhood, sister code, super against it. And then you'll see where I bring my husband on just to show that positivity. Like, hey, there are people out here that's young and doing that, and we're okay. Here, let me teach you how to have this type of relationship. So you can find me there. I'm live every Saturday and Wednesdays on YouTube.
All right. Before we get up out of here, man, I want to say thank you, SD, for helping linking up so we can get this episode knocked out. Our other podcast partner, Jay, we'll get him on the next episode. I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with the background audio. I want to remind everybody to support the podcast or our Cash App and our PayPal. Lady Di, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm pretty sure our viewers will learn a lot from this convo. This has been another episode of the Hold a Husband podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.